It all starts with your marketing, your positioning. Don't change it. Don't lie. Don't try to customize to get them to come on board. I just think about my culture. Is it worth whatever monthly rate you charge to have this person in there? You're not going to call out these people, obviously, in your marketing, but you can look at who are your dream clients and you can call them out in your marketing.
This is the Reinforce Your Gym podcast with your host, Dustin Vogel. This show is about arming gym owners with the tools, strategies, and lessons they need to take their business to the next level. That way, they can make a greater impact in their community. Now, let's get to work and reinforce your gym.
Hey, gym owners, I have a really fun episode planned for you guys today where I'm going to talk about the 6 type of clients you want to avoid and also how to get ahead of it, how to change things so that you don't attract these people anymore because it's probably creating pain for you, your team, and just your overall culture. All right. So these are just like fictional kind of names, but like I put a label on a type of client that we tend to see in gyms. And again, I want to help you get to the top of the issue, right? Not just deal with the symptoms. So let's dive into it. These are my 6 types of clients that you want to avoid in your gym. All right. So the first is canceling Carol. All right. What is canceling Carol? Well, this is the person that leads with asking about cancellation policy. They're like, hey, yes, thank you for telling me about this program, but how do I get out of it? What does that look like? How much notice do you need? What's the fee? And immediately, you guys probably can relate. Those are tending to be the worst clients. Like if we're already talking about getting out, why are we even talking about getting you in, right? Like you're coming in with the wrong mindset, it's showing zero commitment, zero long-term thinking. And it's because you're almost probably thinking you're going to fail. And so you expect a self-fulfilling prophecy. That is a mindset problem and something you do not want to allow because guess what? They're going to point the finger at you and say it was your fault, where you saw the signs at the beginning that they already were going to be a failure because of their mindset, right? So of course, we can do some coaching and that's one of the ways that I recommend gym owners kind of address this is like, I'll even joke about it and I'll call it out. I'm like, hey, whoa, why are we already talking about canceling? Like, we haven't even started working together. Did I already put a bad taste in your mouth, right? So that's like my way of disarming them. And so that's where I could get a read of like, well, I just figured I should ask. And it's just kind of like a surface kind of concern. Or they're like, no, these last few gyms, they really burned me and I was locked in my contract and, just wanting to hear it. Was it the gym that put them in this mindset or was it that they are, in this mindset of wanting to quit? And that kind of brings me to my next client avatar you want to avoid, which is burned before Brenda. All right, burned before Brenda. So basically, she's had a negative experience, or he, again, some of these have female names, some have male names. I'm just being cheesy, but they have been burned at a past gym and that is staying with them like a scar. And unfortunately, they're not moving past it, right? We all have services or products we bought that we weren't thrilled with, we were less than enthusiastic about, but we just keep moving forward. We don't give up, right? Those of us with the right mindset. Well, people who hold on to being burned by another business or another service, they're blocking themselves from being able to move forward. And so that's this next client avatar that you don't want is burned before Brenda, right? And unfortunately, a lot of gyms burn people. Could be like hitting them with fees they weren't expecting, could be making it difficult to talk to someone and get help or cancel, could be that their gym isn't clean. There's a lot of things that happen in our industry that make people get burned. And so they kind of put all gyms into one box, which is, all gyms act this way. And they don't individualize and say, okay, it was just that individual gym, that owner, that way of doing things. This is a fresh start at this other place, right? And so these are the things that we want to be looking out for when we're talking to a burn before Brenda. And so how do you kind of help this? Well, address her concerns. And if your gym is different, again, I don't want you to lie. If you have 12-month agreements and she's burned by agreements, she might not sign up with you. And that's something that you don't want to change your standards just to get a yes. That's what I see a lot of gym owners is they'll morph and they'll say, oh, the last gym didn't have childcare. Let me see if I could find somebody to do childcare here. The last gym did 12-month agreement. Well, we normally do, but I can make an exception for you. And they just customize based on whatever complaint they had about the past gym. The other gym didn't check in with me. Okay, I'll check in with you twice a week. And it's just not sustainable for you, the owner, to do this. and you kind of find yourself trying to like change and morph to get this burned person to sign up with you. But you know, in your heart of hearts, that's not your service offering, right? So don't change it. Don't lie. Don't try to customize to get them to come on board. Address, apologize, say, well, that's a different gym. Here's how we do things here. And that way you could stay true to the way you want to run your business, right? All right, we're going to move on to our next one, and that is price sensitive Pete. I'm sure many of you guys have encountered this client avatar, and you know them because the first question they ask is price, right? What's the price? How much does it cost? And so that's the first thing they say, hey, what's the price? And immediately you know you have a price sensitive Pete, because the truth is, I just think people are not sophisticated in how to shop for fitness. So that's kind of our default thing, right? We don't want to be taken advantage of. We don't want to make sure that people are price gouging us. So that's our default thing, but they really just don't know what questions to ask. So I try not to get too judgmental around this, but it tends to be a good indicator that they are looking for the most price effective solution. So one of the best comebacks, rebuttals, however you want to frame it, to this type of question, like, hey, what's the price? Is to then ask, well, what are you looking for? And do you even know what we do, right? And that way we're kind of getting off track from price. So are you looking for an open gym access where you're going to do workouts on your own? Or are you looking to get coaching and guidance in a fitness studio, right? That's like one of my first ways to frame, hey, there's subcategories within the categories of gym. What subcategory are you looking for? Price sensitive, Pete, you know? And if they say, oh, I just want an open gym, yes, I will send them to an open gym. I won't even try to get that business. I'll tell them about all the cheap options that exist in the area, right? So that would be if they say that. But if they're like, no, you know, actually, I am looking to get help. I want to work with a coach in a fitness studio. Awesome. Then my next question is, do you even know what our offer is or how we do our service? And that way we can establish, can't really judge us on price because you don't know what we do. So allow me to do that. Let's get on a call. Let's book an appointment. And then I can build value, but I'm going to know if I'm talking to a price sensitive Pete, I really need to build a lot of value, and definitely I got a price anchor way above an open gym membership, right? Because like that tells me they're already thinking of us in the category of Planet Fitness or LA Fitness or any other kind of big box gym, you know, Crunch. I got a price anchor with things far beyond what we charge. I got to tell about weight loss surgeries and spending, you know, thousands a month on GLP-1s. And so I'm like, hey, we are going to work with you for just this fee, right? Most of the gyms we work with, they're between $200 to $400 a month. So you don't want them price anchoring you to a big box gym, but you want to make sure you control the narrative and you price anchor far beyond what you charge so that they can see the comparison, right? So that's how we want to deal with that price sensitive Pete, is like, hey, what are you looking for? What kind of gym do you want? And then do you even know what we do? And then that makes it logical that you need to have a conversation to then tell them about your program, right? So that's the first three. We got canceling Carol, we got Burn Before Brenda, we got price sensitive Pete. Next, we're going into Know It All Nancy. All right, I'm sure you ran into this. They have a rebuttal for any type of advice you give them because they follow the YouTubers and the fitness influencers. And they heard, well, I heard intermittent fasting is better for my body type. And I heard from this expert that I should be doing more cardio. It goes on and on. This YouTuber I follow really swears by this supplement. What do you think? And you can almost tell they're a know-it-all Nancy because they spend so much time learning, which is a good thing. But because the internet is filled with so many stark differences, they're caught in that tug of war and they don't know which way to go, right? One person swears by this diet, another person swears by the complete opposite. You know, am I vegan or am I carnivore? Am I no subs? Am I like hardcore subs? Am I strength training 3 times a week or 5 times a week? And so they're kind of stuck in this whirlwind of information, and then they come to you, but for every piece of advice you give, they can almost like tell you why that's not going to work for them, right? And so whether it's their negative beliefs or they've just heard another influencer or YouTuber say something. And so what happens is they tend to have low action and high excuses, right? So they can just explain away all the reasons of why they're not doing what they should be doing to get to their goals. And they just do a lot of talking and not a lot of doing, right? And that's the know-it-all Nancy. So again, these are people that I don't really fight to try to get into my gyms. When I came across this, I would just say, okay, it sounds like you know what you need to do. Like, go off and do it. And if you ever have any questions or need our help, come back and talk to us. But I could just see that this is going to be a major pain. And to me, it wasn't worth the money to work with that type of client avatar. Maybe you have more patience and you can deal with that one, but that was one that I had like very little patience, and I just didn't want just go into debates every day about what they have found on the internet and why this or that. So that's another client avatar. Hey guys, just taking a quick break to ask for one thing. If you can give us a 5-star review, it'd mean the world to me. It helps get me feedback on what you're enjoying about the show and how we're adding value to your business. And it helps us get the word out so we can turn the tide on this war against obesity. So give us a 5-star review and let's get back to the show. We're going to keep going, and that's with Freeloader Freddy. All right. So what is a Freeloader Freddy? Well, these are trial hoppers, okay? They get a Groupon at this gym or a class pass at that gym, or they get a free week pass here, and they have no commitment and they just jump from gym to gym. They really value their freedom. They don't want to be tied down or locked in, and they like to bounce around. But the problem is when you talk to them, they often are not seeing results. And so they're sacrificing results in the name of that dopamine hit of having lots and lots of variety, right? And they want that newness in their life, and they don't want same old, same old. But the problem is the body can't get results without that, as you guys know, progressive overload of doing one type of training for an extended period of time and making it more and more difficult as time goes on. And so therefore they're not getting results and they're frustrated, and they tell you this, but then they also tell you about their deep desire for variety. So again, I don't think anybody should try to lie and say, okay, well, let me customize our workout so it's a high amount of variety and this and that. This is an educational moment, I think, for them. And I've been able to get a lot of these types of people to commit, because I know that's one problem a lot of gym owners try to solve is, how do I get class passers? How do I get Grouponers? How do I get trial hoppers to stick? And this is something that I think I personally was pretty good at. And it's because I just took a moment to educate, right? Like they're just thinking about really from a point of almost like entertainment, right? Who plays good music? Who keeps things exciting? Who has really high energy, engaging coaches? And they're just like, will they keep me engaged and entertained? And I'm just like, well, hey, when you're done chasing that and you want results, let me explain to you why you probably are not getting results. And I would explain that the variety of workouts is contributing, and also the variety of nutrition advice. Every coach you go to, every gym you go to is probably giving you different advice. And they would tell me, yes, this gym swore by intermittent fasting. This one was all about counting your macros. This person was intuitive eating. And so like that was very confusing. And I said, yeah, and then it doesn't help with, you pile on the internet and social media. So I said, you need to really stick to one plan and go all in on it. You can use that dating analogy, right? You're dating a lot of people when you're ready to get married and really commit, right? Because you're not going to get the results until you do that. So that's the good old Freeloader Freddy. That's one that I think, again, most of us can sell, but identifying their personality type, right? All of these are just personality types. Some of them are having a fear or concern. Some of them are trying to show their knowledge. Some of them are trying to just scratch that itch of variety. But when you can speak that language, that's when you can close them and sell them, right? And know how to talk to that person and connect. All right, we're going to wrap up with the queen of all of these client avatar types, and I'm sure you guys know it's coming, and that is a drama Karen. All right, we do not want that. Sorry for everybody with the name Karen. Unfortunately, your name's been run through the mud. Drama has been attached to it. But drama Karens, I mean, I can spot these from a mile away just because I've had many in my gyms. But basically, the first thing I know it's a drama Karen is every story is completely wild and crazy, and like a movie could be made out of it, right? They blow things out of the water. They exaggerate, beyond anything you would do. Everything's bigger, larger than life. That's how I know I have a drama Karen. And guess what? Everyone in the story is an antagonist, and they are the good guy, and everybody's out to get them. And that's when I'm like, okay, this person is the common denominator in all these stories. There's no way all these other people could be crazy people. I think you're the crazy person, drama Karen. And so when I spot that, let's just say I don't try very hard to close, right? I might not even go for the close. I might just tell them about the program and just start like walking towards the door, right? And start showing body language that we don't want you here, right? I just think about my culture. Is it worth whatever monthly rate you charge, $200, $300, $400 a month to have this person in there, right? And for me, that's a big no-no. And I've had way too many of them and seen what it has done, like whether it's they just talk the coach's ears off, they get there early and they stay after, and then they're constantly messaging and they're just very needy. They can get into drama with your clients, and now you're going to lose 3 or 4 clients and keep them, right? And it's not worth it. So this is probably the biggest one that I avoid. And I'm sure, again, you guys can relate, and you've probably had some in your gym too. So just be on the lookout, look for clues. Now, what's my antidote to all this? How do you get around even attracting these people so you don't got to worry about sitting in front of them? Well, I have found that it definitely starts at your positioning and your marketing, right? The more clear you can be, right? What I find, the reason you get a big spread of people is because you're very bland, very broad marketing. And so when you just say, hey, we help local people lose weight, you're going to get all these client avatars coming in there, right? But the more you can describe the person you do want, then you're going to detract the people you don't want, and you'll attract the people you do want, right? So these are things that you're not going to call out these people, obviously, in your marketing, but you can look at who are your dream clients and you can call them out in your marketing. So, for example, I loved working with nurses. They were not afraid to put in some hard work, but they also knew that they didn't have access to the healthiest foods during their work shift. And so that would force them to have to meal prep, because all the restaurants and things are closed late at night when they're doing those overnights. And so they had like 2 choices: really crappy fast food, or they'd have to meal prep. So there's times that and even like Nurse Appreciation Week, we would throw up, you guys get a free week pass this week only. I would call out nurses occasionally in my emails and say, we love working with you. Business owners, I would join the Chamber of Commerce, and I would get in front of everybody. I'd say, hey, I know you're very stressed out with running your business, but where it really starts to suffer, it can show up in your health. And so your health can suffer, which means your family suffers because they get less energy. Your team suffers, they get the lesser version of you. We should just get you some support and get you working with a coach. And just like you guys all get probably mentors to help you grow your business, you should just hire a mentor to help you with your fitness and your health. And so that landed. I knew my audience, and I had a line of people walking up to me after that first introduction at Chamber of Commerce, giving me their business card and saying, call me, I want to sign up with your program. So go to different little micro groups and speak to them and their pain points, and go to the ones that you do want. I do want nurses. I do want business owners. I want these people that have a better, income and disposable income, and that had the right mindsets. And then I pay attention to where did my freeloader Freddies come from? Where did my price sensitive Pete's? Where did my drama Karens? What kind of jobs did they have? What neighborhoods do they live in? Who did they hang out with? And I don't want to market there, right? And I don't want to find more people in their area. So those are the things to think about. It all starts with your marketing, your positioning. And by the way, you don't have to have one marketing and positioning that you run all year. Like I mentioned, you can dip in and out of little micro groups and segments all throughout the year. So hopefully this is helpful. If you guys enjoyed this, tag me on social media, take a screenshot, let me know which of these that you tend to have in your gym. Is it that canceling Carol, asking about the cancellation policy, price sensitive Pete, asking about price, Burn Before Brenda, asking about just the rules that you have of your gym, Know-It-All Nancy, that can tell you more about fitness than anybody else, the freeloader Freddie, who just wants the free stuff and wants to bounce, or the drama Karen that brings the wild stories and the drama to the gym. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed it. See you on the next episode. Gym owners, I don't want you to have the reputation in town as the gym that doesn't call people back, all right? We know it's critical when someone's finally made a decision to get healthy and fit that we get to them as quickly as possible. This can be solved by plugging in our remote sales reps, okay? It's not AI, it's not a bot, it's a real human that's working on your leads, the new ones that come in from your ads and the old leads in your database. And they're there to qualify the leads, to ask them discovery questions, and to make sure they're a good fit. And then their job is to move them forward in your sales process so that you get more members month over month. All right, if you want to learn about our remote sales reps, go ahead and go to gymreinforcements.com, book a call, and we'll tell you more about it. See you then.